Brad Bangle.
By now, if you've been following the show, you'd know that I've looked at various Battletoad games such as Battletoads Arcade, also known as Super Battletoads, as well as Battletoads vs Double Dragon, and within those episodes I've mentioned various other versions of the game including the NES version, but up until now I haven't done a dedicated episode on the original Toads game. So with that in mind, today I check out the original Battletoads game developed by Rare for the NES in 1991. So here we go. After a bit of exposition, we learn that one of the Toads, Pimple, as well as Princess Angelica, are kidnapped by the evil Dark Queen, and it's up to Rash and Zitz to kick her ass and save the day. I really like the introductory scene as well as the map used to break up the levels. It's a nice indicator as to how much pain you're going to have to endure. What do I mean by that? Well, two things real quick. The game is impressively long for an NES title. Oh, and it's also really fucking difficult. Like stupid hard. Like the developers went, hey, how fucking difficult do you think we can make this fucking game? And then they had a meeting and went, well, I don't know, but I don't think it's hard enough. So then they made a deal with a fucking Crossroads demon with the result that Battletoads is now unnaturally and infuriatingly difficult beyond human reasoning. My first contact with the game was through a friend. We used to play it at his house and we were never able to beat it. I can't even remember if I actually ever owned the game, but I know that at some point it made its way to my house, and sure enough, I tried to beat it again, and I'd be greeted by miserable defeat yet again. This was mainly due to the absolutely ridiculous speeder bike levels that require Jedi level reflexes to pass. It was only when I eventually got my hands on a Game Genie that I was able to get through the game, but that's cheating, so it was a hollow victory. So with this playthrough, even though I didn't use a Game Genie, the only reason I managed to finish the game was due to save states. My first few attempts to play the game through without them resulted in defeat yet again. I am however certain that there must be people out there that can do it, which leads me to conclude that they too made a pact with the Crossroads demon. Battletoads is renowned for being one of the toughest games ever created, and it certainly lives up to that claim. The difficulty, however, doesn't lie with the bad guys as such. I mean, some of them are tough but never impossible. The real challenge comes in the form of the level design and the pattern retention required to pass those levels, the speeder bike levels being the most infamous of all. Don't believe me? Well then just take a look at this. It starts off pretty tame. You're zooming along on your speeder bike and then soon enough you're warned of incoming obstacles that you will need to dodge. And that's fine, no problem. Soon enough, obstacles give way to jump sections. You can hop over the small gaps fairly easily, but shortly after that, you will need to hit the ramps to propel yourself far enough so that you can land on the next strip of land. And that's the easy part. Now watch what happens as the obstacles and jumps are thrown at you while the level speed begins to increase. Dead, 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 motherfucking dead. There are a few other similar levels and plenty of other ones where you're required to remember when to duck, jump and so forth, such as the snake pit level. The snake hopping shenanigans, however, was such a fucking pain. The level design does have an impressive amount of variety, ranging from standard platforming beat 'em up levels to the aforementioned speeder bike and snake pit levels, the vertical Wookiee hole level, and even some bizarre ones such as Klinger Winger. On a side note, if you find that you can never outrun that fucking pinwheel, there's an easy trick to beat it. Press pause just as you get to a corner and hold down the direction you need to go. Keep doing this and it will give you a little speed boost, allowing you to outrun the wheel. Without that little trick, it seems to be pretty fucking impossible. There is a large variety of baddies, that is the legitimate name of the Dark Queen's forces by the way, bosses and obstacles to contend with. I mean, just fucking look at all this. And many of them, as expected, can be fucking infuriating to deal with, such as these annoying dragons and Electra Eel. But as many of you will know, the Toads are more than capable of dispatching their foes using a variety of kicks, punches, as well as their morphing abilities that allow you to use giant boots and fists to beat the living shit out of each one of these shit stacks. Battletoads is also lauded for its great visuals, and to an extent that's certainly true. The final level, Revolution, where you are required to climb the Tower of Shadows, is a perfect example of this. The 3D rotating effects were pretty awesome, hell they still are. But the visuals aren't perfect, and some of the levels such as the first one look pretty sloppy in places. There's a definite inconsistency in how the levels look, and in comparison to Battletoads Double Dragon, the graphics aren't as polished, which doesn't really surprise me given that the latter came out 2 years later, but hey, I'm trying to be impartial here. I love Battletoads, don't get me wrong, it's just that the game isn't perfect, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that. The game does have plenty of visual flair though, from the aforementioned impressive 3D effects of the Tower of Shadows to the creepy Wookiee hole, as well as the numerous story scenes and map sections, all complement the game further. And let's not forget the sprites themselves. The toads and baddies alike are nicely detailed and animated too. There is just simply a staggering amount of variety in this game, and I think that's notably impressive for an NES cart. In a way, Battletoads is quite unique. It's a game that was created to be a competitor to TMNT, and although it never gained the same popularity or traction as the Ninja Turtles, Battletoads was certainly a hit that has become a cult classic, offering fantastic tunes and visuals, a lengthy adventure, and a level of challenge so ridiculously high that it's still spoken about today. Will I ever beat this game? Who fucking knows, but it's definitely still good today, so if you've never played the original then I'd highly recommend checking it out, and if you've heard about the new Battletoads game coming to Xbox One and PC this year, then again I'd recommend playing the original game first, even if it's just to get a frame of reference. Well, that's it for this week. As always, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. Until next time, cheers!